Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video in which we take beautiful builds and transform them using command blocks. Last episode was about Aqua Lucida by Estrium, and for today I chose the Eclipse by MC Server UK. If you like any of the features I'm about to show you, this time I am gonna publish my transformed version, but more info about that at the end of the video. Now let's get command blocking. The first suggestion comes from my boy Nuclear Potato, who wanted me to animate the smoke. And that's exactly what I did. At the bottom of the 3 chimneys you will find a lever to activate and deactivate it, because the smoke does cause a little bit of lag. The trails that now spawn move into random directions and also emit some cloud particles, which makes them look very natural, I think. At first I used actual cobwebs for the trails, which did however cause a lot of block updates and therefore lag. So what I ended up doing is changing the head display settings for the cobweb item and simply displayed the block using armor stands. In comparison to the static smoke, this makes the build feel much more dynamic, so great idea Nuclear Potato. The next feature was suggested by tons of people, so I pretty much had to do it. The idea was to make the blimp in the sky actually work, similar to the boat in the last episode. In addition to making it actually work, I also added a system that automatically drops a ladder, which you can use to get up. Once you've made it to the top, right click to get inside, and then use WASD to get around. Unlike the boat, this one actually works great in first person mode. Your view is slightly limited, but not to a point where it's annoying. You can even look at the back, where theoretically passengers could be located. And if you want to exit, simply press shift. A new ladder will now be generated exactly underneath the airship, which you will be placed on so you don't actually fall. Once again, this is done by putting a block model into the hand of an invisible giant, which is then teleported to an invisible horse without gravity. With the root vehicle tag, I can detect if the player is riding it, and if he is, I call a recursive function that deletes the ladder. If the player gets out, I summon an armor stand which is teleported downwards until it hits a block, and on its way down, it places a new ladder for you to get up again. Before we get to the next feature, I want to say a big thank you to my new patron Pello MC. I really appreciate the support and hope you enjoy the behind the scenes content. In pretty much every episode someone asks me to create a cool door. Because they are pretty fun to create, I thought I'd include one in this video too. It is located at the coordinates you see on screen now, and upon pressing the button on the red block, it will slowly but surely open. After the animation finished, you have a few seconds to walk through before the door automatically closes again. This is done using a simple scoreboard timer and a bunch of armor stands, so technically this was not really a challenge. But it is always tricky coming up with a cool and new way of animating a door. Personally, I'm quite satisfied with what I came up with. Let us hope that the next one turns out just as great. The inside of the castle is still lacking some special features. You guys had the brilliant idea of making a fiery throne. When hearing that, the first thing that came to my mind were particles, of course. And after playing around with them a bunch, this was the throne I created. You can even right click to sit on it, which will give you some neat little power-ups. As soon as the black smoke appears, you are fully charged and will now get fire resistance and speed for 10 minutes. In a massive map with lava absolutely everywhere, this is super useful. So if you are around, you might as well just stop by and get this neat little buff. In my opinion, the throne looks absolutely beautiful. And for all the technical players out there, I want to give you a quick explanation how I achieved this. The particle command has some special features. Normally these numbers tell you how large the area is in which the particles are emitted. So if you set it to 000, they all spawn at the same exact point in the world. If however you set the count to 0, their meaning changes and they now represent the direction into which the particles are emitted. So 010 for example would make them go up in a straight line. That explains the fire beams at the outside. How on earth do the other rotating things work though? Well. I simply wrote a little Java program that uses sine and cosine to calculate points on a circle between 0 and 90 degrees. I then set up a little scuba timer that changes the beam from 0 to 90 degrees over and over again. The spinning circle works in very similar fashion. Here I'm just cycling between 0 and 360 degrees. And from the current point that the outer flame is currently at, I spawn another beam that points toward the center of the circle, which leads to this cool looking effect. This just shows how with very simple tools you can achieve pretty amazing things. And last but not least, there was a suggestion to make the volcano erupt. You might ask why you would want that to happen. Well, this volcano has a special ability to attack all entities within a 200 block radius. Activating it requires you to sacrifice 4 nether stars. Just right click to place them down, and the button will appear on the redstone block in the middle. Once you press it, the nether stars will vanish and the volcano will shoot fireballs into the sky that rain down on all mobs around it. If they don't manage to dodge in time, they will instantly die. The disaster will only stop once all mobs were attacked at least once. This might seem super overpowered, but keep in mind that you can juke and avoid the meteors, and additionally it costs you 4 nether stars. And that was the last feature for today's episode. I really hope you all enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what your favorite part was. And before I show you the preview for the next video, I quickly want to address the download issue with this series. Jero and Egg actually had a pretty nice idea for a possible solution. I did, however, change a lot of blocks in my transformation. I still tried setting up a system that sets them all and summons all the entities, etc. That turned out to be a huge pain in the butt though. I tried getting in contact with the build team who made this map, so maybe they can host the download for my transformed map version. But they've been inactive for 4 years, so obviously I didn't get a response. Even though I really don't want to do this, I am gonna release my map version. If you want to download it though, you have to promise me that you also click on the second link in the description and also show some love to the original download page. I know it's not an ideal solution, but them being inactive doesn't leave a lot of options for me. And so many of you actually requested a download, so that's what I'm doing. But if any of the builders who made the map or anyone who knows them is watching this video, just get in touch with me and we'll work something out. And that's gonna conclude today's video. As always, I will now show you the map I'm gonna transform in the next episode. If you have any interesting ideas for what I could create, just leave a comment and I'll pick my favorites and implement them. I really hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video.